Hi, I'm just doing this video just to give you some of my experience of racism through my life. There's the obvious racism that I can remember from a very young child, where as about 4, 5, I can remember we had our house daubed in paint, and on the door they painted "Go Home," and I didn't really understand this because it was my home, and I just didn't get that. And then a bit later on, I remember going to call for a friend to ask him to come out to play, as you did back then. And his mum came to the door and she said, "Can you wait there?" And she went and got some newspapers, and she laid the newspapers on her carpet, right from the hall into their living room, and she laid the newspapers on the settee. And she asked me to sit on the settee and walk on the newspaper whilst I waited for my friend to come and play with me so we could go out and play. I also remember a time when my dad, who had gone into town on Sunday afternoon with a friend to do some window shopping because my dad's friend was going to buy an engagement ring for his girlfriend, and he didn't come home that day because he got asked to move on by the police. And when they didn't move on, they got beaten up and had spent a night in the cells for looking in a shop window. The usual stuff of being called a nigger or a wog or a black bastard, that was commonplace. Going to nightclubs, as you'd look forward to do when you were in your early 20s, where they had quotas, where they wouldn't let more than 2 or 4 black guys go into a nightclub. And I was having to persuade my mates that I didn't want to queue up. I wanted to get there early so we'd get in without any hassle. And that was the obvious racism which I was party to. Playing rugby was a key passion of mine when I got a bit older. And playing a game against West Midlands Police, and being shouted at by the opposition, who were all police officers at the time, being called a wog, a nigger, a black bastard. And because I wasn't rolling over and I was standing up to them, this continued until I'd had enough. And then I found myself in a fight and punching 2 police officers and getting sent off for that. Now that's the obvious stuff. As I've got older, it's got a little bit more subtle. The micro racism, being followed around the shops because they think you're going to steal stuff. White people casually coming up after they've been on their holiday abroad, wherever, and comparing their tan to my black skin and saying, "Oh, look, Mike, I'm nearly as black as you are." Being called coloured. The fear of not actually recognising that I am black and saying, "Oh, look, what colour am I?" when they say that to me. Asking where I'm from. And when I casually say, "Oh, I'm from Coventry," they then go on to ask, no, where are you really from? Then having to block some of my so-called friends on Facebook because of the racist nonsense that they put on. Then the final thing is what we're incurring now. That man has died, and we've seen all the videos. But what's really shocking for me is the silence that I'm incurring. The fact that nobody's saying anything. Some people are, and I've seen it on Facebook, and I've seen it on the news, and I've seen it on the TV. But there's a large majority of people in this country who are saying nothing. And that's what scares me. And that's why I'm saying this. And this is for my children, my grandchildren, and for the future. You can't kill the idea that black equality is needed in this country. We had too many deaths in police stations, and I don't want that to happen to my children, or my grandchildren, or in the future any longer. So what I'd ask you to do is just to find out a little bit more. Educate yourself, read some books, go on the internet and find out about racism and some of the things that black people are having to incur these days. That's all I really want to say. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.